We start with tragic situations on the water. A night out on the lake turned into tragedy for a family in Stokes County. A teenage boy. He went out swimming with his friends at Belews Lake last night, and a North Carolina wildlife official says that teen went out just a little too far without a life jacket and drowned. Just a few weeks ago, we had yet another water-related tragedy. A Guilford College student drowned at Tuckertown Reservoir after jumping off of a rock. Wildlife officials say the incident at Belews Lake reinforces why having a life jacket means so much. Madison rescue teams and High Point police helped with that search. A wildlife officer says help from other agencies plays a huge role when tragedies like this happen.
In dire times like this, it is paramount that we have the support of our community and the people who are willing to help, and the equipment that they are equipped with. It just makes the effort so much easier, and usually it allows us to get answers and some closure to the family a whole lot quicker.
Belews Lake has had several drowning incidents in recent years. Since 2014, one person has died every single year on that lake. Now, if you see someone drowning, sometimes your first instinct is to jump in the water and to try and help them. The Red Cross says you need to fight that urge, or you too could end up in trouble. Instead of jumping in, the Red Cross says try throwing something like a buoy or a life jacket so they can pull themselves up. If you're close enough, you can try reaching out with a fishing pole or a tree branch so that you can help guide them to safety. About a year ago, we got another tragic reminder of how water outings can go very wrong in just a matter of minutes. A family of 9 had gone tubing along the Dan River. They went over a Duke Energy dam, prompting a weeks-long search. In the end, 5 people, including a 7-year-old, died. Survivors said they saw signs before the dam, but weren't really aware about the danger ahead. Now, following that tragedy, Duke Energy installed new warning signs, some in Spanish, and they made some English ones even larger than they were before. As people head back to the river this summer, Rockingham County officials want folks to stay aware of conditions and always take a cautious approach.
One of the most important things you can do is this, even if you know how to swim and you're going to be on the rivers, a personal flotation device is probably one of the most important pieces of equipment that you can have on board.
Sheriff Sam Page says his office often gets called in because folks miscalculate where they are on the river. He says swift rescue teams train regularly and remain ready to deploy whenever needed. You know, even if you're a strong swimmer, things can get dangerous. The North Carolina Wildlife Commission says at least 10 people died in boating accidents every single year between 1981 and 2019. Hundreds of accidents happen. One woman lost her leg, and now she wants to raise awareness so it doesn't happen to anyone else.
You've seen the signs, you know the slogan, and now this group of law enforcement officers, along with advocates for Mothers Against Drunk Driving, want you to feel the impact.
I was run over by a drunk driver when I was 13 years old.
Alex Audie, the national president of MAD, says the boater who hit her nearly a decade ago was over 3 times the legal limit.
The boat hit me going over 60 miles per hour, threw me off the jet ski. I landed face down in the water. The boat went up over the jet ski and came down on top of my body before it sunk.
That drunk driving crash left her with several lifelong injuries, including losing a leg.
Your choices have consequences, and oftentimes those consequences are for other innocent people.
Whether on the road while under the influence,
they're having fun, they tend not to think about being safe as well.
Or on a boat, safety is still key. We took a ride on the lake with officers to see how their enforcement could be life-saving.
Can I see a Type 4 throwable, a life jacket for everybody on board, and a fire extinguisher, please?
So the next time you're out enjoying the wind, the waves, and all the joys of a boat, keep in mind the potential drunk driving dangers too.
When there's no guidance on the waters, there's no brake lights, turn signals, or road markers, it can become a lot more difficult to operate a boat, under any sort of influence of alcohol.
NC Wildlife says if you drink on the water, you need to have a designated driver. That way it is more likely that everyone stays safe.
We just want to make sure that everybody goes home safe, and that's really where all of this starts, is ensuring safety to the public and an opportunity for everybody to enjoy our public water safely.
If you get caught boating while impaired, you could face a $250 fine. Now, some folks want to take a closer look at that penalty. They think it is too light of a penalty. We spoke with a North Carolina wildlife officer who thinks the penalty does need to be stiffer. Other states treat boating alcohol incidents the same way as they do driving ones. A DWI while driving a car can carry a much stiffer penalty. People can get fined thousands of dollars and face jail time, depending on how severe the offense is. Now, keeping kids safe while swimming, it is a top priority, of course, for parents. SafeKids.org shared tricks for teaching your child to swim and how to make sure that nothing goes wrong. The site encourages parents to teach kids how to float before they learn how to swim. That way they know how to keep themselves from going under. And you, the parent, can play a big role when they first start swimming. You keep them at arm's length away and do not get distracted while they are in the water. She says it's just as important you make sure that you have swimming skills. It helps teach your children and could come in handy down the road.
You just never know when you might be able to call upon your skills with swimming. And again, I can't reiterate it more that if you don't know how to swim, put on a life jacket.
And she says if you're apprehensive, you got to get in the water, you got to try it, you might surprise yourself. A racial disparity, though, in access to swimming lessons and ability creates another risk for pool safety. The Consumer Product Safety Commission found a 24% gap between black children and white children in swimming ability. Now, the organization attributes the difference to generational ability. It says more black parents didn't have access to swimming lessons growing up, so they just never learned, and then they never taught their children, so that gap remained. The CPSC started a Pool Safely campaign to try and close that disparity.
Typically growing up in the African American community, there's not always going to be a pool down the street or in your neighborhood or around the corner that you can go and swim at. I think it's important for everyone to find a pool, learn the basics. Is that something that that African Americans and other minorities do on a regular? Probably not.
She says it's never too late, even you adults, to learn how to swim. The good news here in Greensboro is that we have many places to take the kids. The Greensboro Aquatic Center, local YMCAs, and the city all offer swim lessons. Connecting kids with resources early can prove life-saving later on.